Okay. So today we will discuss about demand first, continuous supply, but most of the time I skip supply. Okay, I just show the important part only. And straight away I move to elasticity. Okay, the concept of elasticity here, last time when you study at undergrad level, the discussion may limited to things like price elasticity of demand. Okay, meaning when price change, what happened to demand, and then what in overall the conclusion there. At best, they may include income elasticity of demand. When everyone income change, what would happen to the demand? Okay, but today I will share with you actually the application of elasticity far beyond that, far beyond demand and supply. Okay, that's what at the end of the class I want to share this point, and this is very useful either when you do research, in particular when the data is limited. Okay, all right. So basically, we will learn about demand side of the market and then supply side. Briefly about market equilibrium and what will happen when demand supply shift. And finally, and the most important point that I want to share is on the elasticity. Okay, and this concept you may apply when you prepare your first project, SWOT based project. Okay, what determines demand and supply of handphone, for instance? Okay, we begin with this. We have a lot of questions. How many smartphones do consumers want to buy? Okay, so the decision normally will be affected by the price. The most important one is price. Okay, and then other factors. Yeah. For supply, how many smartphones are producer willing to sell or supply? Basically, the main factor still price. Okay, of course related to cost. But if under you know, under a supplier, price relative to cost. How about consumer? This one related to what? What normally consumer comparing with when we talk about demand for something? Price, yes, but it will contrast against what? Of course, income, but more important than that is normally we assume, okay, what constitute demand? Okay, do you think lecturer like me, okay, can afford to buy Ferrari? Can or cannot? What do you think? Generally, in Malaysia, I'm talking Malaysia, I'm not talking about China or other part of the world. I don't know how much normally lecturer earn. In Malaysia, very often, people like me cannot afford to buy Ferrari. Okay? If lecturer go to showroom of Ferrari, this, the person in charge will just laughing at us. Okay? So, but deep in my heart, I have intention. I want to buy Ferrari. Can my intention to buy Ferrari be called demand or not? Can or cannot? I want to buy Ferrari, but theoretically, okay, in Malaysia, impossible for lecturer to buy Ferrari. Cannot afford. Too much, too expensive. Okay, so my intention to buy Ferrari can this be called demand or not? We cannot call demand. Normally, demand in economy is defined as affordable. Meaning, you want something, you can buy. But the only thing, whether you have to buy or not yet decided. To be decided, but not known. Okay, but you can buy, you can pay. Only this kind of intention can be called demand. In other words, my intention to buy Ferrari is just can be called only dream, not demand. I'm dreaming to buy to drive Ferrari. That's it. Okay. That's why we don't contrast with price with income here. We assume whatever product and discuss is considered as affordable. So normally, what are the main point contrasted by the demander or consumer? Normally is the value or benefit that consumer can derive from handphone. Okay, let's say my handphone worth 1,000 ringgit. Okay, I will check whether the benefit that I can derive from this handphone worth more than 1,000. Okay, if worth more than 1,000, I will buy. If less than 1,000, I will not buy. Even though I can buy, I can pay. So this is a slight different when we talk about price and the consumer, what been contrasted with plus the supply. Meaning the difference between for supplier, for instance, price over cost. If price larger than cost, meaning profit. Okay, profit. Okay, affected by other factors. Okay, when you do your second project, this is what example of equation that you may have to show. Okay, don't worry. Later we discuss about the second project. Okay, not now. Okay, and of course, the discussion here, we will limit to a perfectly competitive market only. Okay, now, briefly, when we talk about demand, okay, first, what is demand schedule? The whole thing here is considered as demand schedule. Meaning when price at 300, what will be the demand? When price drop to 250, what will be the demand? And so on. Okay, so the whole table is called demand schedule. Okay, so when you translate into graph, so this one, the straight line, of course, initially you get dot, 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 the 2 red and 3 black dot. Okay, so when you draw a straight line connecting all the point, the line is called demand curve. Okay, now, if this is, market demand, okay, how to construct market demand? I give you a very simple example here, not related to this one. Just out of nowhere, I just cut paste here, okay, to show to you. It's not very clear. Let me make it enlarge it. Okay. Okay. Basically, let's say we have the consumer 1, consumer 2, consumer 3. Okay. At price of $2, how many market demand? Q1 will not demand. Consumer 2 will demand 2. Consumer 3 will demand 3. So total market demand plus equal. So you get 5. Okay. At price, let's say 0.05. So consumer 1 will demand 4. Consumer 2 will demand 4. Consumer 3 will demand 12. So total 20. So this is how from individual consumer we go to market demand. Yeah, I think very straightforward. Okay. All right. This ceteris paribus is another very strong assumption. Okay. In fact, later when you do the second project, the way you read your regression result also need to be careful. Okay, because the assumption of ceteris paribus hold in that case. Meaning, in this case, what ceteris paribus means, sometimes when you go to translation, it just mentions all else equal. Equal doesn't mean equal, but more on equal to 0. Meaning, other factor other than price factor, they do not change. That's the meaning. Okay. In other words, when we want to establish when price at 300, demand at 8 unit. Okay. In order to establish this connection, $300 equal to 8 unit demand. To establish this, you have to assume no changes on other factors. Taste preference constant. What else? Income constant. Technology constant. Everything constant. Okay. If everything changes simultaneously, no theory and supply and demand can be established. Okay. So that's the Chatteris Tariff means. We have other variable, because I wrote here in the red. Okay. Other variables must be held constant. Then you can draw a very solid and clear conclusion. Okay. I mentioned here, I wrote here also. How to interpret, okay? Especially when we talk about changes, okay? When price changes from 250 to 300, okay, price move up, okay, from 250 to 300. So what we can see, okay, what we can observe, demand will drop from 9 to 8. Okay, but this assumption only true when we assume other variable do not change. Taste preference constant, technology constant, income constant, every population constant, everything constant. Yeah. Okay. So this is how normally you deal with the graph. Yeah? Okay. Law of demand. Law of demand says when price go up, quantity will drop. Okay. Or conversely, true, when price drop, quantity will go up. Or inverse relationship. Okay, sometimes you call inverse relationship. Okay. Inverse relationship between price and quantity. Okay. Yeah. Pardon? Oh, this one. Okay. Law of demand says, okay, when price, okay, let's go by this one first. Okay, when the price of a product fall, meaning this one, okay, quantity will go up. Okay, quantity will go up. Conversely, when price go up, okay, quantity will fall. Or inverse relationship. Of course, this discussion only hold for normal product. Okay, normal product. And most of the products surrounding us are normal. Okay, you will demand more when the price drop. You will demand less when price go up. Okay, we don't really discuss luxury product, inferior product. Okay, which is required separate discussion. So generally, most of the product, especially the commercial, are following this law. Okay, when price go down, more people will buy. Price go up, less people will buy. Okay, that's why you can see the down sloping of demand curve. Okay, price go up, demand will go down. Price go down, demand will go up. Okay. Another important point is when we limit our discussion now, the relationship between price and quantity. Okay. What we observe, regardless of whether we talk about drop in price or increase in price, then leading to change in Q either up or down, but still we can observe it just involves movement along the demand curve. Meaning, let's say when price go down, it actually the point of your interaction still along the demand curve. Okay, it will not shift the demand curve either to the right or to the left. Okay, it will not shift the demand curve to the right or to the left. Okay, now that as long as our discussion limited to the relationship between price and quantity, we're just talking about a movement along the demand curve only. Okay. Okay, this behind the, I mean whether Q drop or not when price changes, actually in between there is two effects. One is called substitution effect. Second is called income effect. This one is little bit advanced, but somehow maybe a little bit good for you to know. Huh? That's why I include this here. I give you an example here. Let's say price of McD, price of McDonald, okay, maintain, but McDonald and KFC in Malaysia in particular competing, okay. But now price of KFC drop from $3 ringgit per piece to $2.7 ringgit per piece. Even the MACD, even the MACD price remain, okay. But psychologically, now we have in our mind, and still price of KFC slightly expensive than price of MACD. But psychologically, now we believe KFC is cheaper. Okay, that's why we call it a relative price. Okay, then some of the current MACD consumer may switch from buying MACD to consuming KFC. Okay, this one effect. And second is income effect. Okay, still we refer to drop in price of KFC. Yeah. Okay. Now, if we take into consideration the drop in KFC price, you'll see real salary, okay, equal nominal salary. This discussion nominal real we will cover when we discuss GDP second half. I will tell a little bit only here to make you understand this. Okay. Okay. Nominal salary refer to the income that I receive. They say monthly USM pay me 1,000, and that's nominal salary 1,000. Okay. Real salary is nominal value of my salary divided by the price in the market. Okay. Let's say my salary is 6,000 written here, 6,000, let's say. Okay. And the price 100% divided by, there's a formula. Maybe second half later I will show you. Okay. Just understand this based on the formula only. Okay. So 1 divided by 1. Okay. So my real salary refer to 6,000. Okay. The major difference between nominal and real, nominal refer to what I earn. Okay, what I earn If I earn 6,000 from USM, that's the number. What's real? Real normally be used to reflect welfare or well-being of the human. Meaning, out of salary that I earn, let's say here 6,000. Given the price that prevail in the market, okay, of course I have to go out buy the things. So out of total consumption, how much welfare I earn. Okay, so that's why the real salary reflect the the welfare of the consumers. To simplify, in this case, you can assume $1 of real value equal 1 happiness. Okay, for simplicity, assume like that. Okay, now in the first part here, okay, real salary equal to 6,000. Now, when KFC drop the price by 10%, drop by 10%, and we assume price also overall price drop by 10%. To simplify our calculation, don't ask is it correct or not. Don't ask that. Okay, because this is very illustrative. Okay, artificial one. Don't ask the real one. Okay, true or not. Yeah, I just assume like that. Okay. Meaning price of KFC drop by 30 cents, meaning 10%, right? And assuming price drop by 10%. So now instead of one, actually there's the formula, and this is the problem when I can write the whiteboard, even no whiteboard here. Actually, 1 minus 0.1. Okay, so the price left is 0.9 only. Okay, so this one. Okay, so now I want to check, and when the price of a drop, what will happen to my welfare? Okay. So 6,000 divided by 0.9. I wrote here 6667. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Yes, it's wrong. Should be more than 6,000. I could remember why I calculate this. Okay, so you should be more than 6,000. So the result should be more than 6,000. Okay. In other words, income effect tend to promote. Okay. More demand for the KFC. Okay, but less demand for McD. Okay. So then price effect, let's say here positive, here positive, let's say here also positive. For KFC, both are positive. Okay, then the result will be more KFC demanded. Okay, more KFC demand. But for McD basically like both negative. So demand for KFC will drop. Of course, this rarely done, okay, at macro level. Normally, company may do. Okay, company may do. But good to understand the structure, because later when you do the SWOT, okay, you may use substitution effect as the strategy. Okay, let's say any of you study about KFC versus McD, then you can collect price from McD, price from KFC, and then you see collect the demand for KFC, demand for McD. After this, you will see how it should be calculated. Not this one. Okay, I just here just relative price. I don't really calculate elasticity. Okay, elasticity later you see it. Okay, the importance of this. Okay, the same thing for income effect. Okay, you may collect, let's say now with the subsidy in Malaysia, slightly increase subsidy of petrol. Okay, by 2 cents, 5 cents, 4% roughly. Okay, meaning somehow that improve the income, okay, of the consumers. How much they demand for KFC and McD. You can try to estimate that. That become the opportunity, for instance. Okay, so this how you develop theory from theory into practical information. The thing that I want you to do in the first assignment. Wow, time is running very fast. We have to do it a bit faster. Otherwise, you cannot finish. Okay, now we understand already price has strong implication on demand. Okay, now what other than price can do with the demand? Okay, other than price factor will shift the demand curve either to the right or to the left. Can for anything, Vincent. You can do anything. Later you'll see in the last slide, actually we can extend the discussion depending on what you are looking at. Okay? I will guide you bit by bit. Okay, today I will give you one example. Next class I will give another example to enrich your understanding. Okay. So, okay, just reminder, never say demand curve shift to the up or down. Okay, don't use that terms. Okay, demand go up, demand go down. Quantity, yes, you can say quantity go up, quantity go down, but demand curve never say go up, go down. Just right or left. Okay. Okay, what other factors can shift the demand to the right or to the left? Basically, other than own price, any factors. I listed the common one added in the textbook: income, taste, prices of other goods, and expectation. Of course, others can be political, can be infrastructure, can be weather, can be climate, can be health, can be anything. All can be tested. Okay, up to you. Okay, depending on your interest. Okay, and your central focus. All right. Okay. Here I mentioned what other than price. How about this one? Prices of other goods. Basically, we refer to competitors' product price. Will this variable shift the curve of demand to the right or to the left? What do you think? The answer is voila. The answer is it will. Okay. I mean, other than price here, you can add normally. Wait, here normally I will add own price. Okay, KFC refer to price of KFC. Okay, as long as demand for KFC versus price of KFC, it will just about a shift along the demand curve, the same demand curve. But when you talk about other than KFC price, Maggi price, Mary Brown price, whatever price, that will shift the demand curve to the right or to the left. Okay. Okay, one question from the chat box. Between positive price effect means negative demand, right? Yeah, yeah. Nah, basically yes. Okay. Now, normally this one is not in the textbook. Just I love to add because I don't know, and many times when I check, many students they don't know. Okay, let's say now, other than price, OP means other than price. Let's say we have 5 factors here. Let's say income. Let's say income change. Okay, and even though price constant, by quantity demanded change. Last time when we discussed, demand will change when price change. Now, we can see demand will change even though price remain when one of the known price factor changes. How to show that? Okay, very simple. Let's say income increase. When income increase, then to the right. Okay, to the right. When income drop, to the left. Okay. Now, at the same price level, you draw a straight line. So you see at this P1, previously this is the level of demand. But now, when income increase, this will be the new demand curve. Instead of Q1, now demand also increase to Q3. The same thing goes. When income drop, even though price remains the same, quantity now drop to Q2. Okay. So if anyone asks you why demand quantities change when price remain the same, because of the known price factors. Okay. Okay. So little bit detail. How each factor affect demand for income. Of course, I think very straightforward. But you can see the difference. When the price the good is normal, okay, you can see more income, more demand. So demand curve shift from D1 to D2. But for inferior good, inferior nowadays very hard to give the example. But you can treat any product of low quality. Low quality tire, low quality rice, low quality chicken and whatnot. Okay, meaning no one want to consume anything that is low in quality, right? But today I have to consume because I don't have enough money. So at the moment my income increase little bit. Of course, I will left low quality rice. I go to high quality rice. Low quality tire of my motorcycle to high quality tire to increase my safety. That's what it says. That's why income increase, demand increase. But for inferior, when income increase, demand will be less. People leave the low quality and go to high quality one. Price of related goods, I think we discussed quite lengthy just now. I don't want to repeat. Taste and preference, of course, this one is very straightforward. Meaning, even though the price doesn't change for the same phone, but for some reason, let's say, people keep on talking, oh, now Samsung, and my Samsung, okay, Samsung add more features. Now, when you value the benefit of buying this at 1,000, now the worth of the value increase to, let's say, 2,000, and the price remain the same. Now your taste and preference will be higher to this product, and you will go and buy. Population and demographic, like nowadays across the world, for developed countries they suffer already aging population. Okay, you go to YouTube, you easily see there are many islands in Japan, only cats, no more people. Okay, or one or two elderly people only. Okay, meaning the changes in demographic will change the demand for certain product. When people are moving towards elderly, okay, then demand for primary school may be gone. There are few school, primary school in Japan have to be closed because no more young people to go to the school. Okay, and in Malaysia, I think a couple of months, weeks or months ago, reported that most likely Chinese kindergarten may be closed soon because many Chinese are hesitant to have more children, or they don't want to get married because of high cost of, growing the family. Okay, so meaning last time people look for kindergarten. I didn't care how much it costs. Okay, but nowadays, because of the changes in the demographic, no more demand for kindergarten, no more demand for primary school, no demand for maybe toys and whatnot. What they are looking for now? They are looking for something that can enhance the quality of life of elderly people. Wheelchair. Okay, for example, okay, open any caring houses, okay, for those who have no one to take care, for instance. Huh? So demography, everything will change the demand. That's why businessmen, they always look for demography as well. They will predict 5, 10 years from now what will be demanded by the next type of demographic in the country. Expected future price is one of the point. Expectation can be anything. And in fact, in economy, this is the most powerful actually. And but the most difficult part. Because businessman has to predict so many things and make sure the prediction is correct. Otherwise, other computers will beat them. Okay? Now with AI, it sounds, oh, everything will be very easy. Okay? But this is a very one-sided discussion. Okay? Let's say I'm very happy with AI. I can predict what will be your behavior tomorrow. But don't forget, you are using AI and you can predict my behavior tomorrow. And based on my behavior, you may change your behavior. And eventually, I don't know what will be your behavior tomorrow, and you also don't know what will be my behavior tomorrow. Everything becomes uncertain rather than certain. So be careful with AI and whatnot. That's the often analogy. Actually, instead of certain, sometimes I feel that things are becoming not certain, or things are becoming very fast changing. Today I want this, tomorrow I want this, and next day I want that one. Last time it may take 1-2 years to change, but today it can be 1 month, it can be 1 week, or even 1 day. Okay, that's why businessmen become more headache to think, to predict. Okay, for taste, for instance, if they, for instance, now during my time, KFC make this very great thing. Okay, so you buy like you are in a different class. Okay, so when taste to, I mean, the kind of preference exists, then demand will increase. But now, why KFC? Let's say KFC become less being demanded, apart from in Malaysia boycott because of Israel things, okay, it can be because of health concern. Okay, health concern. When I was in Japan, one day one English lecturer invited me for food. When we sit together, he used to blame KFC. Okay, KFC came to Japan, offer us cholesterol and shorten our lifespan. That's a critique by my English lecturer. Okay. Oh, okay. So you can read the rest. We are, I mean, uh, we have limited time now. Oh, sorry. Okay, now. Okay, this one case study. Apple policy. Apple tried to discourage its employees from speculating. Speculating means speculate one thing, and then you start to widespread. Okay, tell the audience outside there about your speculation. So why? Because if consumers, okay, heard and believe that is true, then what will happen? Demand for current model will drop. Okay, they are waiting for the next product, meaning the life cycle of each version will become very, very short. Don't worry, going to finish our class. And then second, the price of the current product will likely fall next month. Good or bad? Because when price drop, just now when we study, when price drop, demand will increase, right? Okay. Why become an issue here? Okay, basically, there's a causality. Like chicken and egg, which come first? Okay, the same thing like here. To understand good or bad, you have to understand which come first. Actually, price fall because previously less demand. Okay, price fall is not a strategy of business to attract more demand. Understand this first. Okay, now in this case, price next month will fall because the first demand for current drop. Okay, so you can see the profit function equal to price minus cost and quantity. So when quantity drop and next month price should drop, and eventually profit will further drop. Okay, so I mean this is one of the case you can borrow the idea when you develop your SWOT data. Okay, that's why I prefer you can obtain any publicly listed company where normally they will share the annual report. So there are a lot of information for, I mean, now with ESG, environmental, societal, and governance, okay, come into picture and emphasis. Okay, now they try to offer more reporting on this item. So you can try to include that also, okay, into the strategy. Of course, if the calculation shows not good, it can be under weakness or under threat. If good, you can put under strength or under opportunity. Okay, that's why you have to collect more information so that at least 3, 4 you can put under threat, 3, 4 you put under weaknesses. Okay, something like that. Okay, move on to the supply. Okay, almost the same thing. This is the supply schedule contain the price level. Okay, and then at each price level, how much, how many suppliers are willing to supply. Okay, and when you plot the data, you get this dot 5 dotted, including 2 in red, and you connect all the line, you get supply curve. Okay, demand curve will always be like this, down sloping for demand curve. At best, demand curve. Demand curve at best will be like this, very horizontal. But take note, for supply, it can have various. It can have this, it can have this, it can also this, like demand. Okay, it can also like this one. So don't be surprised. I just share with you the potential pattern of supply. It has many, but for demand only 2, either up down sloping or very horizontal. Okay, but for supply, it can be anything: up sloping, down sloping, vertical, horizontal, all possible. Okay, don't be surprised. Okay, don't complain to your boss. Oh, no, impossible. I learned in microeconomic, economic insight, never happen like that. But generally, it will be exotic. Okay, because it reflects the more you produce, the higher the cost be. Okay, law of supply. Uh, uh, different from demand. Meaning when price go up, quantity will also go up. Okay. Let me ask. Inflation, good or bad? Bad. Okay, very good. Very good answer. How about the rest? Inflation, good or bad? Another very good answer. But which one's correct? Which one's correct? Actually, both are correct. Because you are looking from consumer perspective. Every time I go to the market, I want to buy something cheap. Okay, something if possible. Yesterday 1 ringgit, today become 90 cents only. That's what normally consumer want. Okay, But that guy looking from producer perspective. Okay, price changes, especially inflation, is the incentive for the producer to continuously produce and even more. Okay, that's why inflation is not bad, and that's why in economy we never ask for zero inflation. Take note this. In fact, zero inflation or your friend ask for drop in price, that signal if really happen, economy is dropping. Okay, economy is dropping, not improving. Okay, that's why in economy we are talking about monetary policy, fiscal policy to control the inflation rate within 5% only. We call it mild inflation. Okay, because this mild inflation will not discourage consumption. At the same time, will encourage producer to produce more. That economy will expand, moving upward. Okay, so actually apply to this concept. Why? More price, more quantity. Okay, because price is an incentive for the producer to produce more. Right. Conversely, when price drop, from this graph, you can see quantity will also drop. Okay. That's why in economy we never say zero inflation or deflation, meaning inflation become negative. No, we never ask for that. It will happen during COVID. It can happen during a war. At that time, we can expect production will drop. Okay. Okay. But similar to demand, anything about price versus quantity will only shift the graph along the demand curve, as you can see here. A movement along the demand curve. If drop, also along the supply curve. Sorry, not demand, supply curve. Understand that? So, what can shift the supply curve to the right or to the left other than price factor? It can be price of input, still price, but not price that product, price the input. Okay, or in other words, we call it cost of production. Okay, and technology change, and then expected future price. Price is of substitute, meaning competition, and number of firm. Okay, market competition. Okay, another similar issues. How do we know when price constant, price will change, can still change whenever there is any of the non-price factor changes. Okay, so you can see, let's say technology. Okay, technology normally affect. You always, use this formula: profit. Beta right. Profit equal price minus cost time quantity. Okay, as you can see, out this 5, okay, price of input refer to cost. Technology change, it can be talk about price, it can talk about cost. It can be because of more technology, more efficiency, less cost. Okay, or you can talk about more features, more benefit. Okay, can change the price to be higher. Okay, and then expected future price is more on the again straight away to price also. And then substitute more on competition will affect Q. Okay, and then finally number of firms in the market also will affect Q. Okay, so in other words, later when you want to study what factor, okay, as for SWOT, okay, what factor can be taken into account in swap. You can think what factor can affect price, which can improve or decrease the profit. Okay, what factor can affect cost? Okay, now if government demand for more environmental friendly technology to be installed, that may involve cost, right? That may affect cost production. Okay, and then what potentially other than these price factors and cost factors, anything that can affect Q. Okay, you can think about it. At least market competition, more firm enter, more export, more import. Okay, these are all will play a role. So in your analysis, SWOT analysis, I mean, there's so many things you can include, unlimited. Don't limit yourself to what commonly mentioned. ROA, return on asset, ROE, return on equity. Okay, these are what normal commonly used indicator. Correct, you can still use, but think more than that. Okay, be more creative. Okay, because now when we talk about CSR, corporate social responsibility, we are looking for more. I mean, beyond profit. When we talk about performance of company. Okay, all right. So you can see, let's say technology, because of good technology, okay, supply increase, okay, more efficient, supply increase, move to S3. Or you are using outdated technology compared to other producers, you are left behind, so supply has to decrease. Okay, so you can see at the same price of Q, okay, or P1, sorry, okay, you can see initially Q1, it can increase to Q3 or it can reduce to Q2. All right. Okay, this one, I mentioned also, always focus on this. When you do swap, okay, you can focus on this simple equation and then you expand further, okay, the indicators that you want to. Let's say now, in China, because most of my PhD students, I have 13 now, 25 from China, majority from China, huh? And most of those who have married, okay, they only have one children, okay, only one. The main thing that they always mention is cost of, meaning growing the children is very expensive in China. Okay, although now there is incentive offered by Chinese government to increase the number of, child in each family. But considering the cost, they told me they don't think they can have more than one children. Okay, so you can think of all these policies as well. Okay, when now the number of population in China shrinking. In the next 10 years, for instance, what will happen to the company that focusing solely on child-based product? Okay, do they have to stick with that or not? Okay, you can study them. Okay, I give just one example only. Inputs. When the input price, okay, when Russia invade Ukraine, okay, suddenly the price of gasoline goes up, okay, then cost of production increase. Therefore, those who rely heavily on oil, they have to reduce the supply. Okay. In contrast, now Malaysian government give more subsidies, then that somehow reduce the cost of production. We can expect supply to shift to the right or increase. So the rest you can study by your own. Okay, now I want to focus on one important things because before we have a break for Muslim to prayer, and then we continue after half an hour. Okay, but I want to finish. After this, maybe one or two slides on supply, and then few on elasticity, and then we finish. And in the next 45 minutes, I think can finish. Okay. Okay. Last one before we have a break for. Okay, cost. How do you know now cost of production has increased or decreased? I mentioned now, just now. Okay, this one cost of production decrease. This one this one increase, this one decrease. How do I know? How do I know that now the cost of production has increased or decreased? Okay. Let's say now we have S1, we have S2. Okay. And then how do I know that cost S1 is larger than cost S2? How do I know? And how do you know? Okay, very simple. Very simple. This is not written in textbook, but I learned a lot when I was using the formula. Okay, that's why I trace this information. Okay, not directly mentioned in textbook. Okay, but maybe some of you already in the know. Okay. Okay. Which part of the graph tell you cost of production? But then US1, not really. Both has cost area, but I ask you which area tell you it is cost of production? The area below the supply curve. Okay, the area below supply curve, it tells you the cost of production. Okay. Now, let's say we produce at QS1. Okay, let's say we produce at QS1. At QS1, if you produce at S2, this is the cost of production. This triangle, ACQS1. This is the cost of production for S2 plant. Okay. How about cost of production of QS1? S1 plant. All the area below this is the cost of production has to be borne by S2 plant, S1 plant. That's why when the curve of supply moves to the right, it tells you more efficient production. The same size of quantity, last time it required OBQS1, but now only ACQS1 less. Okay, understand this. Then you can understand why to the left, why to the right easily without have to memorize. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's have a break for half an hour.